I never thought a single voicemail could shatter the fragile peace I'd built after Mom's funeral. But there it was, blinking on my phone like a ghost refusing to die. Elijah, it's me, your father. If you ever cared about her, you'll stay away. This family's done with your kind. The words hit like a freight train, his voice cold as the winter wind rattling the windows of our old Victorian in upstate New York. In that instant, everything I'd buried, the grief, the secrets, the love I wasn't supposed to feel, came roaring back, and I knew I couldn't run anymore. It started 6 months earlier, on a sweltering July afternoon in our sleepy town of Elmwood, just outside Buffalo. Mom had been fighting cancer for 2 years, a quiet warrior who baked apple pies for the neighbors even as chemo drained the color from her cheeks. She'd married Richard when I was 12, after Dad bailed on us for some corporate job in Silicon Valley that promised the world but delivered only postcards. Richard was solid, the kind of guy who fixed leaky roofs and coached Little League, with a salt and pepper beard and eyes that crinkled when he laughed. He wasn't my blood, but he was family, or so I thought. By 18, fresh out of high school and dreaming of art school in Manhattan, I'd started noticing things about myself that didn't fit the straight-arrow life Elmwood expected. Boys in the locker room, their easy camaraderie twisting into something sharper, more confusing. I buried it deep, sketching feverishly in my notebook instead of confessing over Friday night burgers at the diner. That afternoon, Mom called me into her room, the one with the faded floral wallpaper and the quilt she'd sewn for my baby clothes. She was propped up on pillows, her hair a soft halo under the window light, her drip humming like a distant lullaby. "Eli, baby," she whispered, her hand trembling as she squeezed mine. "Promise me you'll live true. No hiding, no settling. Your heart's too big for that." I nodded, throat tight, assuming she meant chasing my dreams, not the boy who'd been haunting my thoughts. Lucas, my best friend since kindergarten, with his crooked grin and the way he'd sling an arm around my shoulders like it was the most natural thing in the world. She slipped away that night, peaceful in her sleep, the monitors beeping a final, irregular rhythm. Richard found her, his roar of anguish echoing through the house like thunder. The funeral was a blur of casseroles and condolences, black suits under a relentless sun. Elmwood turned out in force. Neighbors, teachers, even the grumpy librarian who'd fined me for overdue graphic novels. Lucas was there, of course, his hand brushing mine in the receiving line, a silent anchor. But Richard? He was a statue, eyes hollow, gripping the eulogy like a lifeline. "She was the light of my life," he said, voice cracking just enough to sell the grief. I believed him then. God, how I believed him. The erasure started small. A week after, he cleared out her closet, donating her dresses to the church bazaar without a word to me. "It's what she'd want," he muttered when I protested, his jaw set like concrete. Then the photos vanished, Mom's smile scrubbed from the mantel, our family portraits swapped for generic landscapes. I chalked it up to his pain, the way loss can hollow a man out. But when college deferral papers arrived from NYU, my acceptance to the Tisch School of the Arts, my ticket out, he tore them up right there in the kitchen. "You're staying here, Elijah. Family needs you. Art's a hobby, not a life." His eyes flicked over me, lingering a beat too long on the sketch pad I'd left open to a drawing of Lucas laughing at the county fair. Something shifted in his gaze, suspicion, maybe disgust. I swallowed it down, told myself it was paranoia. Lucas noticed, though. We were holed up in his family's garage apartment that summer, the one his dad rented out to tourists during leaf-peeping season. It smelled like motor oil and fresh-cut hay, with a sagging couch and a mini fridge stocked with root beer. We'd always escaped there, binging horror flicks, debating Marvel versus DC till dawn. But now, with Mom gone, it felt like a bunker. Your old man's acting weird. Man, Lucas said one night, sprawled on the floor with a half-eaten pizza between us. He was shirtless in the heat, tattoos curling like vines over his shoulders, a nod to his Mohawk heritage. Stories of reservation summers in upstate. His eyes, dark and steady, met mine, and my chest tightened. Like he's pushing you out. I laughed it off. Too loud. Nah, he's just grieving. We'll head to the city soon. You and me. Roommates. Remember? Crash on futons. Chase dreams. But even as I said it, doubt gnawed. Richard had started working late at the hardware store he owned, coming home reeking of bourbon and stale smoke. He'd grill me about my days, where I went, who I saw, his questions laced with an edge that made my skin crawl. One evening, he found my phone buzzing with a text from Lucas. Miss you already. That sketch? Fire. Innocent. But Richard snatched it, scrolling with a scowl. Who's this Lucas kid? You too. Close. The word hung heavy. Accusatory. I mumbled something about best friends, heart pounding, and he handed it back with a grunt. Watch yourself. Boy. Small town. Reputations stick. By August, the cracks were fissures. Richard announced we were selling the house. Our house. The one Mom and I had painted robins egg blue on my 10th birthday. Fresh start, he said over breakfast, not meeting my eyes. Can't live with ghosts. I fought it, screaming in a lawyer's office about inheritance, about Mom's will leaving half to me. But the documents were ironclad, Richard as executor, everything tied up in family trusts. He cut off my bank access, claimed it was for bills, and when I pushed back, he exploded. You think you're entitled? After what you've done? His face twisted, veins bulging, parading around with that boy, shaming her memory. She died ashamed of you. The words landed like blows. How'd he know? I'd never said a word. Never acted on the pull toward Lucas beyond stolen glances and late-night confessions over whiskey stolen from Richard's cabinet. But there it was, out in the open, a poison he'd been brewing. I denied it, furious tears burning, but he just laughed cold, bitter. I saw the way you look at him. Disgusting. You're no son of mine. That night, he changed the locks. I crashed at Lucas's, backpack slung over one shoulder, the weight of exile settling like lead. Elmwood closed ranks. Whispers followed me at the gas station. The library, poor Elijah, always a little off. Richard spread the story, troubled kid, ungrateful after his mom's death, running wild. Friends drifted, invitations dried up. Only Lucas stayed, fierce and unyielding. Screw them, he'd say, pulling me into hugs that lingered too long, his breath warm against my neck. You're gold, Eli. We'll make it. In those moments, the truth clawed at me. I loved him, had for years, a quiet ache that bloomed in the spaces between our laughter. But confessing felt like tempting fate, like handing Richard another weapon. Fall crept in, leaves turning the town into a postcard of reds and golds. I scraped by on odd jobs, barista at the coffee shop, freelance sketches for local bands, while Lucas worked construction, his muscles hardening under flannel shirts. We plotted our escape, a cramped walk-up in Brooklyn. Him studying environmental engineering at City College. Me chasing illustrations for indie comics. Nights blurred into confessions, our hands brushing as we passed the remote, the air thick with unspoken want. One rainy evening, thunder rumbling like distant artillery, I broke. Lucas, I think I'm gay. And it's you. It's always been you. My voice cracked. The admission a dam bursting. He didn't flinch. Just cut my face, thumbs tracing my jaw, his eyes soft as the lamplight. Took you long enough. Idiot. His kiss was tentative at first, then deepening, a promise sealed in salt and rain. For the first time since Mom's death, I felt whole, two puzzle pieces slotting together in that dingy garage, the world outside fading to irrelevance. We were careful, though. Elmwood's Bible Belt undercurrents ran deep, and Richard's shadow loomed. "We'll leave soon," Lucas murmured against my skin, his fingers weaving through mine. No more hiding, but fate, that cruel architect, had other plans. Mid-October, a letter arrived, certified mail, Richard's scrawl on the envelope. Inside, eviction notice for the garage apartment. Lucas's dad, sheepish over coffee, admitted Richard had leaned on him. Business partners. Eli. He owns half the store. Said you were. Unstable. Threatened to pull funding. Betrayal stung fresh. Even peripheral ties severed at Richard's command. We packed in silence. Rain lashing the windows. My sketches curling in the damp. Lucas's mom offered their spare room, but pride burned hot. Motel first, I insisted. Then the city. On our terms. The Pineview Motor Lodge was a neon-lit relic off Route 5. Rooms smelling of mildew and regret. We checked in with pooled cash. The clerk's pitying glance saying it all. That night, tangled in scratchy sheets, Lucas held me as sobs racked my body. He took everything. I whispered. "Mom, the house. Now this." Lucas's voice was steel-wrapped in velvet. Not me. Never me. His love was a lifeline, fierce and unyielding, pulling me from the abyss. We made plans feverishly, bus tickets to NYC, job leads, a shared Gmail for apartment hunts. For a week, it felt like victory. 2 kids against the world, stealing kisses in the motel's flickering parking lot lights. Then the voicemail. I'd ignored Richard's number for months, but curiosity or masochism won. Playing it on speaker in our room, Lucas's arm around me. The words froze us both. "Elijah, it's me, your father. If you ever cared about her, you'll stay away. This family's done with your kind." The line clicked dead, but the damage echoed. Your kind, the slur implicit, the rejection absolute. Lucas's jaw clenched. That bastard. What the hell does he mean? Care about her? I had no answer. Just a hollow ache where home used to be. Desperation bred recklessness. I drove to the house that night, our old Victorian, now Richard's fortress, parking down the block under sodium lamps. The windows glowed warm, a betrayal in amber. Through the curtains, I glimpsed him, pacing the living room, phone to his ear, gesturing wildly. Mom's quilt draped the couch like a shroud. Rage boiled. I needed closure, something to claw back control. Slipping around back, heart hammering, I jimmied the kitchen window, the same one I'd snuck through as a teen after curfew. Inside, the house was a tomb. Mom's scent faded, her knickknacks boxed in the attic. Richard's snores rumbled from upstairs, bourbon bottle half empty on the counter. In his study, rifling drawers for anything, copies. Bank statements, I found it, a battered cassette recorder, tucked behind tax files. Curiosity piqued. Mom had loved old tech, recording bedtime stories on reels. This was digital, though, with a single file dated the day she died. Label, for Eli Truth. My hand shook as I plugged in earbuds. Hitting play. Mom's voice, frail but fierce. Eli, if you're hearing this. Richard doesn't know I suspected. The insurance policy, he forged the beneficiary, cut you out. And the accident. It wasn't. He pushed for that experimental trial, knew the risks, all for the payout. To secure our future, he said. But it's blood money. Baby. Confront him. Don't let him win. The world tilted. Experimental trial? Mom's cancer treatment had been standard, chemo, radiation. But 6 months prior, Richard had surprised her with a clinical trial spot, some cutting-edge drug from a pharma giant. She'd been thrilled. Us too, until side effects hit hard. Overdose, negligence. The recording cut to static. Then Richard's voice, interrupting her. Laura, stop. This is private. A scuffle. Her gasp. Then silence. Nausea roiled. He'd known the risks. Pushed it anyway, for money. To erase me. The burden. I pocketed the recorder. Fleeing into the night. Tears blurring taillights. Lucas waited at the motel. Worry etching his face. What happened? I played it for him. Voice breaking. His fury mirrored mine, fists clenched, eyes blazing. That son of a bitch. We go to the cops. Now, but doubt crept in. Evidence? A recording from a dying woman. No timestamps. No proof of forgery. Richard was Elmwood's pillar, deacon at the Methodist Church, sponsor for AA meetings. Who'd believe the troubled queer kid over him? Lucas pulled me close. We fight smart. Lawyer first. Anonymous tip. His resolve steadied me. Our love a quiet fire against the storm. Yet misunderstandings festered. I withdrew, snapping at his optimism, convinced we'd lose. He'll bury us, I'd mutter, pacing our cramped room. Lucas, patient as ever, would draw me back. Hey, we're in this. Together. The decision tore at me. Expose or flee. Confronting Richard meant dragging Mom's name through mud. Risking Lucas in the crossfire, his job, his family, already strained by our friendship. One night, over diner coffee gone cold, I voiced it. What if we just go? New York. New names. Let karma handle him. Lucas's face crumpled. Hurt flashing. Run? After everything? That's not you. Eli. That's fear winning. The argument escalated. Words like shrapnel. My cowardice. His naivety. He stormed out, leaving me with the recorder's weight in my pocket. Regret a bitter pill. Days blurred into silence. Lucas returned. Apologetic. Takeout in hand, buffalo wings. Our peace offering. I get it. Scared shitless too. But hiding? That's what he wants. We reconciled in whispers. Kisses soft as apologies. Reaffirming our bond. But the seed of misunderstanding lingered. A crack in our foundation. Richard escalated. 2. Phone calls to Lucas's work. Veiled threats. Keep away from my boy, or you'll regret it. Elmwood's gossip mill churned. Elijah's dragging that Indian kid down. Richard's heartbroken. November winds howled as we boarded the Greyhound to Manhattan. Recorder hidden in my boot. The city swallowed us, neon chaos. Steam rising from grates like exhalations. We found a studio in Bushwick. Graffiti splashed walls and a hot plate for a kitchen. Days were grind. Lucas on job sites. Me waitering at a queer-friendly cafe in the village. Sketching patron stories in margins. Nights were ours, rooftop stargazing. Hands laced, dreaming aloud. Love deepened, raw and real. Lucas's laughter chasing shadows. Yet Richard haunted, anonymous emails. Come home, or else. I deleted them, but paranoia gnawed. The climax hit like a nor'easter, unannounced and brutal. Christmas Eve, snow blanketing Brooklyn brownstones. We hosted our first family, a ragtag crew from the cafe, drag queens and poets swapping spiked eggnog. Laughter echoed, a balm on old wounds. Then my phone rang, unknown number. Richard's voice, slurred with eggnog of his own. Elijah? That you? Merry goddamn Christmas. Thought you'd like to know. Found your little secret. That recording? Copied it before you stole the original. Insurance companies sniffing around. Your mom's accident might not stay buried. Ice flooded my veins. Betrayal doubled. He'd known about the recording. Let me take the decoy? Play me like a mark. What do you want? I hissed, stepping onto the fire escape. City lights blurring through tears. His laugh was venom. Nothing. Just watching you squirm. You're poison. Boy. Always were. And that boyfriend? Tell him to watch his back. Elmwood forgets nothing. I hung up, chest heaving. The party noise a distant roar. Lucas found me minutes later, concern etching his brow. Eli, talk to me. The words tumbled out. Richard's call. The copy. The threat. Fury ignited in Lucas's eyes. But beneath it, fear for me. For us. We end this. Now, against my protests, he grabbed his phone, dialing the Elmwood PD non-emergency line. Anonymous tip, he insisted. About the trial, the forgery. Let them dig. But anonymity shattered. Richard, tipped off somehow, maybe tracing the call, retaliated swift. Next morning, Lucas's foreman called. Laid off. Budget cuts, but whispers said otherwise. Richard's influence. Tendrils long. Then the emails. Photos of us kissing on the motel's lot. Time-stamped. Captioned pervert scum. Sent to Lucas's family. His old high school group chat. Backlash hit like a wave. His mom, devout Catholic, pleading come home. Son. This phase, it'll pass. His sister, texting how could you? Dad's rolling in his grave. Lucas, shattered, confronted me. Did you leak them? To hurt him back. The accusation gutted me. A knife twist. What? No, God. Lucas, how could you? Misunderstanding peaked. Raw and ragged. He paced our tiny kitchen, voice breaking. Then how? It's everywhere. And you, keeping that recorder, playing hero. Maybe you're the one erasing us. Pain laced his words, born of exhaustion. Fear. I recoiled, the room spinning. I'm fighting for us, for Mom. If you just trust, shouts escalated. Doors slammed. He left for his sisters in Syracuse. Space the flimsy excuse. Alone, I curled on the futon. Sobs echoing. The city indifferent. Despair clawed deep. Difficult choices loomed. Destroy the evidence. Slink back to Elmwood a ghost. Or double down. Alone? Psychological torment peaked. Nights replaying Mom's voice. Richard's sneer. Lucas's doubt. I wander Greenwich Village. Snow-dusted streets alive with holiday cheer that mocked me. At a jazz bar, nursing cheap whiskey, an old-timer spotted my sketch pad. Kid, arch truth. Don't let bastards grind you down. His words. Simple. Ignited spark. Back home, I transcribed the recording, annotating with research, trial docs online, pharma lawsuits mirroring Mom's case. Evidence mounted. A dossier of quiet fury. New Year's dawn gray. Lucas returned unannounced. Duffel in hand. Eyes red-rimmed. I was wrong. Scared. Stupid. But I love you. Eli. Fight or flight. We do it together. Forgiveness was messy. Tears and tangled limbs. But real. Rekindled. We filed the report properly with a pro bono lawyer from the cafe's owner. A fierce lesbian activist. The recording. The copy's metadata exposing Richard's tampering. Investigation launched. Elmwood PD. Reluctant at first. But federal insurance fraud angle-hooked feds. Climax crested in February. A subpoena dragging us back to Elmwood. Courtroom in the county courthouse. Wood-paneled and echoing. smelled of polished oak and tension. Richard, suited sharp, glared from the defense table, his lawyer spinning tales of devoted husband. Elijah, the disruptive influence. Testimony gutted. Mom's oncologist confirming trial risks undisclosed. Richard's emails to the pharma rep, haggling payout percentages. Then the recording played, her voice filling the room like a specter. Gasps rippled, Richard's face drained to ash. But the twist, the unexpected gut punch, came from his own lips. Cross-examined, cornered, he cracked. She was leaving me, for him, for Elijah's sake. Said I was too hard, too narrow. The money? It was for us. After. To start over. Lies unraveled. He'd suspected her affair, phantom, born of paranoia, forged docs to control the narrative post-death. And me? The boy was unnatural, corrupting her softness. I had to protect the family. Homophobia laid bare, raw and ugly. The courtroom a tinderbox. Protesters outside, LGBTQ allies versus. Church groups, chanted, snow falling like confetti on chaos. Jury deliberated 2 days. Verdict fraud, manslaughter charges pending. Richard remanded, his empire crumbling, store seized, reputation ash. But victory soured. In the melee, a reporter cornered Lucas. Sourced the photos? Off-record slip. But it aired. Local hero exposes stepdad's bigotry. Backlash flipped. Lucas hailed, his family thawing with reluctant pride. Yet for me, catharsis mixed bitter. Mom avenged, but gone forever. Spring thawed Elmwood as we returned to Brooklyn. Tentative peace. Richard's trial loomed summer, but we testified together, unbowed. Our love, tempered by fire, bloomed, quiet dates in Prospect Park, sketches of Lucas reading under cherry blossoms. One evening, rooftop again, city humming below, he knelt. Not ring, yet but a promise, wherever. Eli. Us against it all. Tears pricked. I pulled him up, foreheads touching, the most romantic hush enveloping us. Mom's words echoed, live true. In the end, humanism prevailed, not tidy justice, but messy grace. Richard wrote from jail. Apology scrawled. I was broken long before her. Forgive? Maybe not. But no, I see now. I burned it. Ashes to wind. Lucas and I, we built art shows for me, green initiatives for him, a life woven from scars and stars. Grief lingered, but so did love, fierce, flawed, profoundly American in its resilient hope. Healing wasn't linear. It zigzagged like the subway lines we navigated daily, sometimes derailing into doubt. By April, with Richard's pre-trial hearings splashed across local news, Elmwood Hardware mogul faces fraud rap. The media circus had migrated to our doorstep. Reporters loitered outside our Bushwick walk-up. Mics thrust like spears. Elijah. Was it revenge for your sexuality? I dodged. Hood up. Lucas shielding with a glare that could curdle milk. Back off. This is about justice. Not your clickbait, but the questions burrowed, stirring old insecurities. Was it, or had my queerness been the spark, turning personal vendetta into public spectacle? Lucas bore it steadier, his Mohawk roots grounding him. Weekend trips to the Onondaga Nation lands near Syracuse became ritual, campfires with his aunties. Stories of resilience against settler erasure. See, he'd say, passing fry bread warm from the coals. Our people survive worse. You will too. I'd lean into him, the scent of sage and earth-chasing city grit, feeling the knot in my chest loosen. Yet misunderstandings lingered like fog. One night, post-hearing, I snapped when he suggested therapy. What? Fix me? The trauma kid? Hurt flashed in his eyes. Us, Eli, together. Can't pour from empty. We talked it out till dawn. Barriers crumbling, emerging closer, vulnerable, but unbreakable. Elmwood receded, but tendrils snaked back. Mom's estate settled in our favor. The house auctioned. Proceeds split after fees. Half funded my first semester at Tisch, deferred dreams realized. The other half, a trust for family healing, per the judge's Renwin nod. I donated it to the local LGBTQ center. A brick-and-mortar fuck you to Richard's legacy. Opening ceremony. May, rainbow flags snapping in the breeze. Kids like me, wide-eyed, wary, mingling with elders sharing pie. Lucas spoke, voice steady. This is for the ones erased. We're writing ourselves back in. Pride swelled. Mine and theirs, for a moment. Anger transmuted to purpose. Summer sweltered, our rhythm settling. Mornings, coffee on the stoop. Sketching passers-by, drag kings hustling to brunch. Couples tangled in leashes and laughter. Afternoons, Lucas at solar panel installs, returning dust-streaked and grinning. Evenings, village haunts. Open mics where I'd read poems laced with Mom's voice. Lucas in the front row is not my compass. Romance wove subtle. Picnics in McCarran Park. His head on my lap as I trace constellations on his palm. No grand gestures, just the quiet profundity of shared silence. Hands finding each other in crowds. But conflict brewed anew. Insidious. Richard's lawyer contacted me. Settlement offer. Hush money masked as reconciliation fund. He wants peace. The suit droned over burner phone. Admits mistakes. Your lifestyle factored, but grief blinded him. Rage boiled fresh. I hung up, smashing the phone against the wall. Lucas found the shards, piecing it with me. Don't let him in your head. But he did. Nightmares of Mom's gasp. Richard's shadow looming. I withdrew again, burying in sketches, dark, swirling abstracts of erasure. Betrayal's ink. The breaking point came mid-July. Heat wave baking the asphalt. Anonymous package arrived. No return. Just my name scrawled. Inside, letters. Mom's handwriting. Bundled with twine. Richard's doing? Or genuine? Heart-pounding. I spread them on the floor. Missives from her hospital bed. Pen when pain eased. Eli, my artist, draw the world as you see it, not as they demand. 1. Dated weeks before death. Richard's changing. Paranoia about you. Us. Suspects your heart's secret. Loves you, but twisted. Protect yourself. Tears blurred ink. She'd known. Shielded me even as he schemed. Lucas read them aloud. Voice thick. She saw you. All of you. Catharsis hit. But so did fury at her for not telling. At him for weaponizing love into control. We drove to Elmwood unannounced. Letters clutched like talismans. The old house, sold to a young family, bustled with kids' toys on the lawn. Richard's new digs, a trailer park on the outskirts. Dignity stripped. He answered the door haggard, unshaven, eyes sunken. Elijah, no fight, just resignation. I thrust the letters forward. Why send these? Torment. He sagged against the frame. Didn't. My things cleaning out. Found 'em. Mailed to my guy. Thought. Maybe you'd understand. Lies? Truth? His gaze flicked to Lucas, softening fractionally. Brought the boyfriend. Huh, he's good for you. Better than I was. Shock rooted me. Apology? From him? I pushed the trial, he confessed. Unprompted. Knew the odds, docs warned. But the payout? After Laura, I'd be alone. With you. Complicating. The word dripped venom, but regret undercut. Hated what you are? Yeah. Hated myself more. Dad beat that into me. Men don't bend. Lost her trying to unbend you. Psychological depth unfurled. Layers peeling. His own buried wounds. Generational poison. I wanted to hate. To scream. But empathy crept, unwanted. Humanistic. You erased me. Us. He nodded. Tears tracking. Worst sin. Forgive? Hell no. But let me try. From afar, Lucas squeezed my hand. Silent support. We left without promises. The drive back a quiet unraveling. Monster? Lucas asked. Or man? I shrugged. Both. Doesn't excuse. August brought unexpected alliance. The center's director, a wiry vet named Carla with tattoos for non-protests, recruited us for workshops, coming out after loss. Teens spilled stories, rejection, suicide ideation mirroring mine. Guiding them, vulnerability shared, healed fractures I didn't know bled. Lucas co-led, his environmental bent weaving in protecting the earth starts with protecting hearts. Pride swelled. Our love, once hidden, now beacon. Yet controversy stirred. Local paper ran a hit piece. Queer activist profits from stepdad's fall, twisting donations, implying grift. Online trolls swarmed. Faggot gold digger. Slurs in my DMs. Anger surged. Fan no hot. I drafted a viral thread, exposing the spin. Mom's letters anonymized as proof. Backlash flipped. Shares. Support. A GoFundMe for the center exploding. But cost? Lucas's mom called. Voice tentative, saw the news. Proud? Maybe. Come home sometime. Bridge mending. Fragile. Fall semester loomed. My portfolio bursting. Comics inspired by trials. Heroes reclaiming shadows. Lucas aced his finals. Internship at a green nonprofit. Romance peaked in Central Park. October blaze, leaves carpeting paths. Us on a bench by the Bethesda fountain. His proposal whisper. Marry me? Not today, but when we're ready. Ring later, a simple band. Etched with mom's favorite quote. Live true. I said yes through happy tears. The kiss sealing fate. But climax's echo lingered. Richard's trial. November, packed gallery. Tension thick as fog. Prosecution hammered. Fraud docs. Trial coercion. The recording's dual copies proving tampering. Defense pleaded diminished capacity, grief. Alcoholism. Richard testified. Broken. Loved her. Feared him. Me. On stand. Voice steady. Fears no excuse for erasure. Jury convicted. 5 years. Restitution. As cuffs clicked, his eyes met mine. Regret. Not rage. Outside. Snow flurried. Protesters hugged. Chants fading to cheers. December mirrored our start. Cold. Clarifying. Back in Brooklyn. Tree strung with lights scavenged from stoops. We toasted to truths exposed. Love, deepened by storms. Felt eternal, hands clasped. Futures intertwined. Mom's spirit? In every bold line I drew. Every root Lucas planted. Humanistic close. Not erasure's end, but reclamation's dawn. We endured, not despite scars, but because of them. Winter's grip tightened that year, mirroring the chill in my bones, even as Brooklyn buzzed with defiant holiday spirit. The trial's verdict brought no clean absolution. Instead, it unearthed more layers of the man who'd nearly unmade me. Richard's sentencing hearing, a subdued affair in the same wood-paneled courtroom, revealed his own ghosts, a childhood in rural Pennsylvania. Father a steelworker turned abuser after mill closures. Mother silent as a doormat. He learned hate young, his public defender argued. Voice flat. Projected onto Elijah, the son he couldn't mold. Empathy warred with outrage. I sat stone-faced. Lucas's hand a warm anchor under the bench, as the judge handed down 4 years. Probation after. Mandatory counseling. Richard's nod was weary acceptance. No outburst. In the hallway after, a corrections officer passed a note. Letters were real. Burn the rest. Be free, kid. Freedom tasted bittersweet. Back in the city, media faded, but scars itched. I threw myself into classes, life drawing, where models' poses evoked vulnerability's curve, narrative workshops, dissecting betrayal's arc. Professors praised my raw edge. You've lived it, kid. That's gold. Lucas thrived too, his internship morphing to full-time, installing community gardens in the Bronx. Growing food, growing hope, he'd quip. Dirt under nails, smile broad. Our life wove domestic rhythms, grocery runs to the bodega, movie nights with bootleg DVDs, lazy Sundays tangled in sheets, whispers tracing futures. Yet conflicts simmered, subtle as subway rumbles. My hypervigilance, locking doors twice, scanning crowds for familiar faces, grated on Lucas. I'm not him. Eli, he'd say softly after a flinch at a raised voice. Guilt followed. Sharp, I'd apologize with coffee runs. Sketches of him as a stoic guardian. But the pattern repeated. Deeper, survivor's guilt. Why me? Unscathed. When mom? Therapy, mandated by the settlement's fine print. Cracked it open. Sessions in a sunlit office overlooking the East River. Dr. Ramirez, a no-nonsense Latino with a Mets mug, probed gently. Grief's a thief. Mijo. But you're not complicit. Breakthroughs came slow, journaling mom's unsaid words. Role-playing confrontations with Richard's shadow self. Lucas joined once. Our hands linked on the couch, vulnerability shared. It bonded us tighter. Controversy reignited unexpectedly. Elmwood's Church, Richard's old haunt, launched a forgiveness fund for his legal fees, framed as community support, but laced with homophobic undertones, pamphlets decrying moral decay in families. Outrage boiled online. I penned an op-ed for the Buffalo News. Erased no more, a sun stand. It went viral. Shares from GLAAD to grassroots orgs. Backlash? Death threats in my inbox. But so did allies, donations to the center doubling. Lucas, ever practical, framed it. Your voice? Weapon now. Use it. We marched in pride that June, delayed by pandemic echoes, rainbow flags whipping. His arm around me amid floats and feathers. Chants of love winds drowned doubts. For once, I believed it. Misunderstandings tested us, though, in ways small-town ghosts never could. Lucas's family warmed unevenly, his mom inviting us to Thanksgiving, but seating charts awkward, prayers skirting lifestyles. At the reservation gathering, aunties grilled. When rings? Babies. Tradition clashed with our truth. Lucas deflected with humor, but tension hummed. Homebound on the train, he confessed, feel like I'm failing them. You. Heartache twisted, I pulled him close. You're bridging worlds. That's heroic. Decision loomed. Come out fully to his kin. Risk fracture or gradual thaw? We chose bold. A handwritten letter from both. Mailed pre-holidays, we're building a life. Love us as we are. Responses mixed. Mom's tears over call. Trying. Son, sister's enthusiastic bake-off invite. Progress. Fragile as fresh snow. Psychological depth deepened in quiet moments. Nightmares evolved, not chases, but stasis, frozen in Elmwood's kitchen. Mom fading while I sketched futilely. I'd wait gasping. Lucas murmuring anchors. Here. Now. His own burdens surfaced imposter syndrome at work. The token native label chafing. We'd trade vulnerabilities over takeout foe. Laughter punctuating tears. Romance sustained. Anniversary surprise. Him blindfolding me to the High Line. Picnic under stars with a boombox crooning Coltrane. To us, unerasable, he toasted with sparkling cider. Kiss deepened, world narrowing to heartbeat sync. High drama struck autumn. Year 2 post-verdict. Richard, granted early release for good behavior. Relocated to a halfway house in Rochester, close enough for unease. Parole conditions, no contact, but Elmwood's grapevine buzzed. He joined AA meetings there, whispers of amends. Then, a letter, cleared by his P.O., postmarked neutral. Elijah, counseling's peeling onions. Yours was first regret. If willing, coffee, Nutriground. No expectations. Rage flared, then curiosity's whisper. Lucas, reading over shoulder, trap, or olive branch. Sleepless nights debated, closure's lure versus. Reopening wounds. I pen reply one meet. Public. With witness. Neutral. Tim Hortons off I-90. Neutral as beige walls. The encounter. Fluorescent hum. Coffee bitter. Richard. Gaunt in flannel. No beard. Vulnerable. Almost. Thank for coming. Awkward small talk, weather. City life. Thawed to meet. Letters. She worried about you. Me too. Wrong way. Confession spilled. His own queerness. Buried post-dad's belt. Projected onto me. Thought fixing you fixed me. Shock numbed. Villain humanized. Not excused. Hurt irreparable, I said. Voice steel. But hearing this. Explains. Lucas. At adjacent table. Nodded subtle support. Richard's eyes welled. Proud now. Of the man you are. Parting handshake tentative. Catharsis. Partial. Aftermath rippled. I shared with Dr. Ramirez breakthrough. Resentment ebbing. Lucas and I celebrated with rooftop barbecue. Grilling veggie skewers. City skyline, toasting resilience. But twist. Richard's story leaked. Anonymous AA breach. Tabloids twisting. Stepdad comes out in jailhouse redemption. Controversy exploded. Supporters hailed growth. Detractors cried manipulation. I stayed silent, letting his actions speak. For us, it freed space. Wedding plans tentative. Elopement whispers in Vermont. Maple syrup moons. Winter circled back. Softer. Mom's birthday. We visited her grave. Elmwood Cemetery dusted white. Headstone etched simple. Laura Hayes, lover of light. I left a sketch. Her laughing. Us three in better days. Lucas added sage smudge. Smoke curling prayers. She's watching, he said. Smiling. Back home. Love's depth anchored. His proposal ring. Slipped on over New Year's. Silver band etched true. Vows drafted. Intimate friends. No spectacle. Yet one final conflict, my art show. Spring debut at a Williamsburg gallery. Pieces. Erased series. Canvases of redacted faces. Emerging bold. Opening night throng. Critics murmuring approval. Richard appeared, uninvited, but permitted, hovering edge. Approach hesitant, beautiful. Like her. Awkward nod. Lucas's arm stiffened. But grace prevailed. No scene, just acknowledgement. As he left. Whisper. Thank for the chance. Door closed. Literally. Summer bloomed. Our ceremony. Adirondacks cabin. Lake Mirror calm. Vows exchange under pines. Carla officiating. Small circle witnesses. I erase nothing, Lucas pledged. Ring sliding home. Only add. Tears. Laughter. Dance under stars, wild. Free. Honeymoon. City staycation. Exploring hidden alleys. Love rediscovered daily. Years folded, my graphic novel deal. Shadows uninked. Bestseller quiet. Lucas's nonprofit launch. Urban farms feeding hundreds. Richard? Distant amends. Holiday cards. Neutral. Family mended. His mom's wedding quilt gift. For your nest. Humanistic arc. Pain alchemized. Not erased. Fuel for growth. Love's quiet revolution. Decades blurred in retrospect. But that first post-wedding summer etched eternal. A season of unspoiling, where love's tendrils rooted deep into soil once scorched. Brooklyn evolved around us. Our walk-up traded for a brownstone in Bed-Stuy. Backyard plot yielding tomatoes Lucas coaxed with whispered Mohawk songs. Mornings started with espresso grounds and canvas stretches. I'd paint while he journaled grand proposals. Our worlds orbiting in harmonious chaos. Conflict arose, inevitable as tides, career pulls. His travel for indigenous land rights summits clashing my deadlines for Shadow sequels. Arguments flared. You promised presence. I'd accuse. Hurt masking fear of loss. He'd counter. Building legacy for us. Our kids. The word hung. Uncharted. Parenting beckoned subtle. Fostering started accidental. Carla's center overflowed with queer youth. One, a wiry teen named Jax. Kicked out post coming out, crashing our couch. Temporary, we said. Months stretched. His sketches mirrored mine. Raw talent untutored. Adoption whispers grew. Home studies. Court dates. The system's grind exposing cracks. Misunderstanding peaked when Lucas hesitated. Am I ready? After my own fractures. Heartache stung. I stormed to the roof. City lights, blurring fury. Then why foster? Pity. Dawn reconciliation. Tears on pillows. Truth bared. Scared of failing him. Like Richard failed you. Empathy bridged. Therapy retooled for 3. Jax's voice adding layers. Abandonment echoes. Trust's fragile bloom. High drama crested unexpectedly. Richard's relapse. Year 3 post-release. AA dropout. Bar fight landing him brief jail. DUI. Irony bitter. Call came from his PO. He named you emergency contact. From the old file. Reluctance ward duty. We drove upstate. Jackson tow. Curiosity's hook. Hospital room sterile. Richard dripped. Eyes milky. Knew you'd come. No grovel. Just facts. Sponsor ghosted. Grief anniversary triggered. Miss her. Miss. Trying. Jax. Silent observer. Later confessed. Saw my bio dad in him. Broken. But human. Decision weighed. Intervene or sever. We arranged rehab. Neutral. Funded anonymously. Boundaries firm. 1 foot wrong. Done. His nod grateful. Small victory. Resentments thaw. Controversy followed. As shadows do. Rehab leak. Tabloid fodder. Ex-con stepdad's queer redemption flop. Trolls revived slurs. Doxing our address. Fear spiked. Jax armored with mace keychain. Lucas installing cameras. Fan no. Fueled action. I testified at a state hearing on conversion therapy bans. Voice amplified by Shadow's reach. Hate hides in families. Expose it. Allies rallied. ACLU briefs. Celebrity retweets. Backlash. Protests at the center. But security held. Community unbowed. Lucas's TEDx talk. Roots of Resilience. Went viral. Native wisdom meets queer survival. Our story woven subtle. Pride swelled. Misunderstandings with his kin dissolved. Mom at the talk. Applauding teary. Psychological depths plumbed richer with fatherhood. Jax's adoption finalized on Mom's birthday. Courtroom joy. His middle name, Hazenod. Parenting's crucible. Nightmares shared. His of foster hops mirroring mine. Erased, he'd ask. Small voice. Never, I'd affirm. sketching us as superheroes. Lucas's steadiness grounded, bedtime stories blending Iroquois lore with urban myths. Yet doubts crept mine, providing enough. His cultural transmission, we navigated with counselors, play therapy, family trips to the res, Jack's learning longhouse dances, belonging blooming, romance endured, evolving tender, anniversaries marked intimate, vow renewals in the Adirondacks, Esmores and stargazing, surprise weekends in Provincetown, whale watches hand in hand, highs punctuated lows, a gallery retrospective for me, unseen lines, selling out, Lucas's award, EPA grant for urban rewilding. But climax's shadow loomed, Richard's unannounced visit, post-rehab, sober 6 months. Doorbell on a crisp fall eve. Jack's answering. Who? Trailer in hand. Eyes clear. Grandpa? If allowed. Shock rooted. We'd never framed him kin. Coffee in the kitchen. Awkward. Tales of NA meetings. Amends list checked. Proud of your family, he said, glancing Jack's ward. Mine now. Tentative yes. Boundaries etched. Monthly calls. Holidays optional. Twist deepened. DNA test. Jax's whim. Curiosity spark. Results. Surprise link. Richard's distant cousin. Blood tie faint. Fate. Lucas laughed. Or coincidence. It humanized further. Erasure's irony. Jack's warm slow. Fishing trips bonding awkward. For me, forgiveness fractal. Not full, but functional. Mom's grave visit included him. Sorry. Laura. Late, but here. Wind whispered absolution. Years cascaded. Jack's to college. Environmental science like his dad. Our second foster. A trans girl named Riley. Joining the fold. Family expansive. Conflicts evolved. Teen rebellions. Career sabbaticals. But resolutions quicker. Love's muscle flexed. Controversy? Faded to footnotes. Shadow series option for Netflix. Queer leads, unapologetic. Elder Autumn arrived gentle. Richard's passing. Quiet heart attack. Age 72, brought closure's hush. Eulogy I penned. Unread aloud. Complicated man. Learned late. Estate? Modest bequest to the center. Note for the erased. We honored. Scattering ashes at mom's plot. Duet graves. Peace entwined. Our twilight. Brownstone filled with grandkids' chaos. Jax's twins romping. Riley's art echoing mine. Lucas and I. Silvered. Porch swings creaking. Regrets, he'd ask. Hand in mine. None. You. Smile shared. All worth it. Humanistic coda. Life's not erasure. But inscription, bold. Flawed. Enduring. In America's vast tapestry, our thread, love's defiant weave, stitching wounds to wonders.